Welcome to another episode of BIRDGANG Nation Sports Talk. I'm your host, BIRDGANG 31. Today, we got another special guest, Mr. CONOR MYLES from Eagles Unfiltered and Sports Illustrated. How you doing today, Big Conor?
What's going on, BIRDGANG? Thanks for having me on the show, man. I appreciate it, bro.
No problem, man. No problem. How's your day been today?
It's always been a great day talking when it's time to talk birds.
Oh,
You
yeah.
already know. We love them birds.
Heck yeah, we do. So tell me, how you see training camp going so far? The first two, I know it's only been 2 days, but give me some highlights of what you've seen out there and what you like to going on.
It's interesting to see that, there's differing opinions from this new coaching staff on players than there were in past with Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson. And for an example, Josh Sweat. I mean, taking a bunch of first-team reps. He seems like there's a chance where instead of seeing Derek Barnett on the field right away, we're going to see Josh Sweat first on the field. And that's crazy. You would never think you would see that under Jim Schwartz. He's viewed entirely differently under Jonathan Gannon. Jalen Hurts and the Devontae Smith connection is that everything is advertised. That's something that we should really look forward to. I'm excited for because Devontae Smith burned Steven Nelson, who's a pretty good corner the Eagles just brought in on a 40-yard touchdown today. So Devontae Smith is everything is advertised. And the one thing that I really like is, they look like they're having fun out there. Like it's crazy because it's a new coaching staff and, everything seems so new. And, after everything that's going on for the Eagles off season and all the drama going on, it looks like guys are just, that's not affecting any of these guys. None of the drama, none of the media. I mean, even you saw how Jalen Hurts handled that Deshaun Watson stupid question that he received.
Right.
He complete professional. I mean, these guys, nothing seems to phase them. They look eager and ready to prove that they're better than a 4-11-1 team and that they're ready to turn the page under Nick Sirianni's tenure. And I think that's exciting because we were all worried about how are they going to react to losing the Super Bowl winning head coach? How are they going to react to losing Carson Wentz? And I mean, it looks like, they're not missing a beat. They're ready to be better than they were last year. So it's interesting because, we didn't know what to expect from a first-year head coach, Nick Sirianni. But, I mean, this training camp so far looks as prepared and professional as we've ever seen one.
Nice, man. I like hearing that, man. Yeah, like you said, like Josh Sweat's a beast, and I'm definitely looking for him to keep that role. I know it is early in training camp. The coach likes to mix things up, sometimes in the practice where you see a guy getting a lot of first team reps, but then, come the season, things change up. But that's one thing I'm hoping really sticks to that way.
I honestly think it can really stick to that way because the knee is not really, and I mean, he says it multiple times. I don't know how many more times we have to say it. The knee's not an issue for him anymore. It's just staying healthy with the rest of his body because I would say he has some kind of injury prone label, but nothing that he can't overcome. He's still 24 years old and he's in the contract year. That's the thing that that gets lost in this context. There's not going to be any restraints on these players with this new coaching staff. They need to see if they need to invest in these guys long term. And he's on a contract year. He's a better pass rusher than Derek Barnett. And it seems like Jonathan Gannon's already realized that from his time evaluating the tape off the past Eagles seasons. They have to see if this guy can be the future of this team because at this point he may become cheaper than Derek Barnett and he's a better pass rusher than Derek Barnett is as well. So they really have to see what they have in him. I know Barnett's on the last year of his deal too, but I know they want to see what they have in guys like Josh Sweat, Alex Singleton, for example, a lot of guys on the 1-year type contracts that they need to see if they can be on this team moving forward. And Josh Sweat is one of them.
Nice.
Jordan Mailata and Dallas Goedert. These guys are on 1-year deals. They need to see if they need to invest in these guys long term. So these are the guys they're going to lean on heavily this year, I believe.
So you see Jordan winning out?
I believe he wins that job. I absolutely believe he wins that job. I mean, Andre Dillard's look pretty bad too. He looks like a guy who missed last season. I don't want to say pretty bad because, again, it's day 2 of camp. It's hard to make an overreaction off of how they look so far, but it looks like a guy that's missed a whole football season.
Oh, man. Well, that's good to hear, I guess, But what do you see happening with Dillard if he doesn't get the start?
I see him being the backup. I think this team values offensive line play, and especially with how it's been last year with the injuries. And, Brooks is already hurt. So you have to have your right guard ready to go behind Brooks. And that either that's Driscoll or that's going to be Nate Herbig, probably Nate Herbig. But with how this depth was tested on the offensive line last year and the value that they would probably get for Dillard is probably not worth them giving up. So I think they're going to be fine with Dillard as the backup left tackle. But in the offseason, it's something they're going to have to revisit given his first round contract and Jordan Mailata outplaying him, probably being the guy that they're going to go with left tackle moving forward. That's something they're going to look at. Maybe they do like a pick swap for a trade because Dillard's value right now is not good. And if he's a backup this year, it's not going to be any better. So maybe that's something they revisit in the offseason, moving on from him. But right now, I think they'll be comfortable with him as the backup because who knows? Maybe Mulata gets hurt. Or, we don't know what's going to happen to right tackle with Lane Johnson's injuries. So we'll see.
And what about you said like Brooks down? Who's been filling in there? And do you think any chance maybe Landon gets to go over there to right tackle? I mean, right guard.
Well, right now, Matt Pryor filled in for him because Nate Herbig's filling in for Isaac Seumalo left guard. But if Brandon Brooks was to go down and Seumalo was ready to play left guard from day one, you're going to see Nate Herbig there at right guard. I don't think Landon Dickerson's going to play much this season, if at all. If you see him at the end of the year, it's because there's injuries along the offensive line. I think they're prepared to make him the backup center and groom him to be Kelsey's replacement. I don't think Isaac Seumalo is going to go to center. I think he's firmly supplanted at left guard, and I think Jeff Stoutland is comfortable with him as a left guard. I think they drafted Landon Dickerson to be the heir to the throne to Jason Kelsey. I mean, that's something the Eagles do. Before knowing what Dillard ended up becoming and before we knew what Jordan Mulata was supposed to be, he was drafted a year early to sit behind Jason Peters and groom behind him and become the eventual heir replacement. And they've done that at multiple positions. I mean, even once upon a time with Brandon Graham, he was supposed to be the replacement defensive end. I mean, it's multiple positions that they do this for. They draft in advance. And I think they did that with Landon Dickerson because he is going to be the center of the future for this team.
And I heard that Davion Taylor got some reps at linebacker.
Yeah, I like it.
What's your outtake on Davion?
I think it's just, he fits, and, you heard it last year when they got drafted. I mean, he's so raw, but he fits in terms of what the football is going with the linebackers. You need to be covered sideline to sideline. You need to be fast, athletic, and that's Davion Taylor. And I think he fits the scheme a little bit more, and I think the coaches already realized that off the bat, given his athletic traits that they saw up close in June. It makes sense. It does make sense. And if you're going to spend a third round pick on a player, you need to see some kind of internal return on your investment within the first 2 years of having that player. And that's simply what they're doing with Davion Taylor. They believe in him more than the fans of the media do because we didn't get to see him that much last year, but new scheme and it fits him a lot better. And he fits the mold of what the NFL is going with at linebacker. So that's why you're seeing a little bit more of Davion Taylor. I would expect it to continue being that way going into the season.
So Wilson, Taylor,
and Singleton.
Nice. Yeah. And then what about that third CB spot?
Right now it's Avonte Maddox's spot to lose, but don't sleep on Josiah Scott. I don't think they're going to put Zach McPherson in a position to come into the season as a rookie where with still COVID being an impact and honestly transitioning from cornerback into the NFL, especially from the Big Ten, is the toughest transition you could do as a college player. So I don't see them pushing Zach McPherson to start or play much this season. He's probably going to be the fourth corner on this roster. I see Josiah Scott giving Avonte Maddox a run for his money. He had the first interception of training camp. So I see Josiah. He's a good player. And you got to think about it. This staff is not invested in Avonte Maddox. He's on the last year of his rookie contract. He's the highest cap hit behind Darius Slay at corner. He's expendable, and they did trade. They didn't just simply signed Josiah Scott. They traded. They gave away an asset for Josiah Scott. So they may prefer him to Avonte Maddox. We'll see. But I think there's a competition at slot corner. Now that cornerback 2's figured out because Steven Nelson's here, there's no competition there anymore. Now the competition shifts to slot corner. Avonte Maddox is going to earn his spot because Josiah Scott's going to push him.
Yeah, man. So you think it's all locked down? We're all set with the corners before the season start?
Outside corners are definitely Darius Slay and Steven Nelson. Yeah, absolutely. No doubt.
Nice. Have Zach even got any good reps in there? Have you seen so far?
Yes, I think his OTAs made them pause on signing Steven Nelson. I think it made them think a little bit about signing Steven Nelson. But I think Jim Schwartz would have been okay with that. The philosophy would have been we'll throw our guys out there and they'll win because of pass rush. I don't think Jonathan Gannon thinks that way. I think he values development and not rushing a player in terms of development. I think that's where they finally came to the conclusion that, Steven Nelson on a 1-year deal is a Band-Aid, but a Band-Aid that's needed at the time. So let's have the Band-Aid heal the position that's bleeding while, the immune system heals the body. And that's going to be Zach McPherson because he's going to be a future starter for this team.
Nice. Still probably pick up a cornerback in the first round or something next year.
Yes, I would definitely think so because Darius Slay's cap hit is a little outrageous over the next 2 years. There's no way the Eagles bring him back at that dollar amount. He would have to renegotiate his contract. And if he doesn't, and either way, I still think that's a position they address because If you want me to be completely honest with you, I think Zach McPherson is the future slot corner of this team. I
Nice.
think after seeing what Jonathan Gannon did with Kenny Moore and in terms of developing him into the best slot corner in the NFL today, I could see something similar with Zach McPherson, given the fact that he kind of compares to Kenny Moore as a player overall in terms of skill set. So I think, Zach McPherson is going to be the future slot corner of this team, but that means they still need to find that long-term outside corner. And, with this draft with 3 draft picks and a guy like Derek Stingley Jr. out of LSU coming out, that's a guy you have to really keep your eye on, especially with Jonathan Gannon developing him. Yeah, that's a position I'm looking for the first round next year for sure. Yes.
Nice. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Mrs. BIRDGANG 31, Philly Girl 76. Much love for joining us. If you guys have any questions, go ahead, hit that like and leave some in the comments. So what do you think about the safety position here? I heard Kayvon's getting some PT back there.
Kayvon's going to play a noticeable amount this year, no matter what. Even if the third safety is going to have a huge role in this defense, especially around the line of scrimmage, and that's where Kayvon Wallace does best, especially in also shifting to the slot when needed. So Kayvon's going to get a lot of play this year, no matter what. But I can't wait to see when Rodney McLeod's healthy and the pair with Anthony Harris. They're going to give so much support to the corners. This past defense is going to look so much better than it's ever been in years, even with Billy Davis before too, because it's been awful for a while. Actually, it's been awful for a couple of decades, it seems like. So just to see the safeties given to the safeties that get, the safeties are one of the best coverage safeties in the NFL anyways, though. Anthony Harris is literally, in 2019, was the best coverage safety in the NFL. He's coming off a little bit of down year, but he played with nothing but rookie corners in an offseason where the rookies were given the most unorthodox offseason to deal with in NFL history. So that gives you a little bit of context of why he had such a down year. Now he's back paired with Jonathan Gannon, who he's familiar with, and Rodney McLeod's always been one of the better coverage safeties in the NFL. So to give those guys coverage support to the corners, it's just I can't wait to see the dividends it shows on the field. What difference, if any, does Conor see in practices between prior coach staff and this one? Attention to detail. To answer the question on screen, attention to detail. Nothing to slight against Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz, but it just seems like there's more pause and let's work on the finer details so these players get it. Because this is it's not going to be an incredibly different offense, but it's still going to be a new offense, but the defense is going to be incredibly different. So they have to take their time. And, I never saw something slow down or dummied down where Doug Peterson and the former staff was in place. With Nick Sirianni, that's all it is. If something doesn't go right, he's going to talk to you for about 20 minutes on the sideline. And that's something that you didn't really see before. And I like that a lot. And I think that's something that's a little bit different. Attention to detail.
Yeah, I heard he pulled Mr. Fulgham to the side there when he made that drop.
Fulgham, Devontae Smith. I mean, he's giving Devontae Smith a little finer details. He's doing that with all the players. It's not just the wide receiver position, but yes, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside's looking a little bit more fluid. And that's very noticeable. I thought that, for a guy that I've always been very critical of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, he's always looked slow. He looks like he can't run routes, but so far in practice, he looks much more fluid. And, the difference between Carson Wentz and Jalen Hurts is going to show, because Jalen Hurts is the type of guy he'll throw the ball up to you and trust his wide receivers to make the play. That's something that J.J. Arcega-Whiteside needed, and he didn't have that in Carson Wentz. So maybe we'll see in the preseason if he performs well in the red zone with Jalen Hurts. Maybe he finds his way to catch onto the roster, because, again, they did invest a second-round pick in him, and Jeffrey Lurie is a favorite of J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. Maybe he pushes for a roster spot if he continues to look as fluid as he does. But, again, this guy's a training camp preseason warrior. I don't really know if this is going to translate. I'm not getting my hopes up on him at all, but I will just say, for the sake of the question on the screen, he has looked more fluid in practice.
Nice. Do you see him making the team?
I mean, again, like, he is Jeffrey Lurie. He's a favorite of Jeffrey Lurie, and he was invested a second-round pick into him. But you have to, if you keep J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, you have to get rid of Quez Watkins or Greg Ward, and I think that's a tough pill to swallow, because I wouldn't get rid of either one for him.
Right. That's I think nobody would rather do that one.
No.
So what about the running backs? Anything new with the running backs you see back there? Because we know Miles Sanders is in there. We know Kenny Gainwell's in there. Who else seemed to be making a splash here in training camp?
So they're doing a lot of 21 personnel already, and it's insane, because that's what you wanted to see with, and you saw it at somewhat with LaShawn McCoy and Darren Sproles when they were here with Chip Kelly. Now you're seeing that with Miles Sanders and Kenny Gainwell, and that excites you. That excites you, because Kenny Gainwell was the best receiving running back in this past draft, and honestly, right out of the gate, walking into the NovaCare complex, he's the best receiving back on this team.
Nice.
So to see him do that, and Miles Sanders isn't bad in that aspect either. He struggled last year, but he still is a good receiver. He was the best. He was the Eagles' best vertical threat in 2019 as a rookie. But another guy that's really, everybody thinks he's going to be on the outs. Boston Scott, he's been the running back too so far. And it's everybody's learning a new system. It's not like Kerryon Johnson and Jordan Howard are at a disadvantage compared to Boston Scott. They're all learning a new offense. So to see this coaching staff already favor Boston Scott is probably good for his chances of making the roster, and I believe he does. I think it's going to be between Kerryon Johnson and Jordan Howard to fight for the fourth running back role because they're going to keep 4 running backs.
And which one of those 2 guys looking the best?
I would say Kerryon Johnson. Jordan Howard even admitted himself last year he thought he was going to have to retire. I don't think he's going to make this team, and his contract is very cuttable. They claimed Kerryon Johnson off waivers. I don't think they believed they could have got him, and they made that waiver claim hoping that they could, and they did that after they signed Jordan Howard. I don't think they expected Kerryon to be available, because if Kerryon was available, I think they would have grabbed him and not even signed Jordan Howard anyways, to be honest with you, because I know they look like Elijah Holyfield and Jason Hutley. We forget about him, but he's looked pretty well, pretty good so far too. Practice squad candidate at least, but I would say my 4 running backs making this team right now are Sanders, Gainwell, Scott, and Kerryon Johnson.
Nice. Yeah, that was definitely what I came up with. I've seen a little highlight on Howard. He looked kind of slow a little bit, when they were doing that passing little thing.
I just think it's over for him, to be honest with you. I think whatever happened in Miami, I don't know what happened, because when he was in Philadelphia, I know he got banged up towards the end of the year, but whatever happened there, that ended his NFL career, because he hasn't been the same at all. He can't. I mean, after 2 yards of running full steam ahead, he slows down off the bat. So I don't think it's going to be. He's not going to be on the team. But I miss you talking about Goddard. But what's up with him failing the conditioning test? I'm just going to say this right now. I think I hate to come at my own profession. The media likes to pry on these little details of this and make a big scene out of it. And you got to think, during COVID, this industry has taken the biggest hit in terms of content, in terms of getting revenue out there because of COVID, and we've been doing nothing but Zooms. And now we're finally back with the team, and any tidbit of information like that, like Goddard failing a conditioning test, Rager failing a conditioning test, we can explode on and make a big thing out of it and make a drama-filled thing, especially in Philadelphia, because the fans haven't been this close to the team since COVID started. You would never get this report last year. And the fact is, a lot of this happened last year as well. And I think this is something that Nick Sirianni is probably going to try to clean up as a head coach, and changes the culture, is getting these guys more conditioned. It's not that serious, though. I'm going to tell you right now. He's going to be fine. Goddard's going to be fine. And Rager's going to be fine, too. I know a lot of personal things are going on with... I have a close relationship with Jalen Rager's dad. I know a lot of personal things are going on in Jalen Rager's life that he'd rather not comment on. And I know that, it just came out of the woodworks today that his close friend died. And I think that's something that he would never tell anybody. I think he would keep that to himself. And it's a shame that they came out. But that's going to weigh on anybody. We're all human beings at the end of the day. We treat these athletes like they're divas and gods, but they're still humans behind those helmets. And yes, that is affecting him. That is a huge reason why he failed the conditioning test. But again, he's at a playing weight that he couldn't even get close to reaching last year. They wanted him around 193, 194. He barely got to 196, and they fined him 3 times last year for that. Now he's out in 191. He's in the best shape of his life, but he's not. He did fail the conditioning test, and I don't think he's getting much sleep. And that's what it seems like from talking to his dad. So we'll see what it's like going forward. I'm not that concerned yet about Goddard and Rager, but we'll see. I'm concerned about B. Brooks. Yes, I think I'm a little bit more concerned about Brandon Brooks than I am about those guys failing their conditioning test. I'm not sure at this point in Brandon Brooks' career that he can last the full entire season, and that's not a bad thing. Because if you can get 10 games out of Brandon Brooks, that's better than what you can get out of anything else. He's still going to be one of the top guards in the NFL when he's on the football field. But I'm worried about him being able to, his availability. Again, you guys got to think, though, he's a whole season off. And not only that, it's hard to condition when the coronavirus is still going on. We don't know I know more than 90% of the roster is vaccinated, but we don't know exactly who. It's hard to get all the conditioning in with everything's going on right now. It's hard to get back into football shape when you missed a whole entire football season and you were impacted by this pandemic. I don't want to hit the panic button on Brooks yet, because it seemed like it was just a precautionary thing. But yes, I am worried about his availability for 17 weeks plus the playoffs if the Eagles make it. I'm not sure he's going to be on the field for every single one of those games, but As long as he's on the field for enough of them, that's good enough for me because he's still a top 3 guard in this game.
What about Lane? How Lane looking out there?
Lane looks fine. There's no hindrance at all. I mean, again, we say that it seems like we say that every year. Then we get into the season and his body wears down, but it looks like nothing at all. And I've said it on the podcast. I'm going to say it again here. This offensive line hinges on Lane Johnson's health. Mm-hmm. It will ride or die with Lane Johnson's health. Jason Kelce is a vital part of this offensive line as well, but Lane Johnson, his health and being available on this football team will determine how good this offensive line is this year. They can survive Brandon Brooks going down. I don't think they can survive Jason Kelce going down, but they can survive everybody else going down. They cannot survive Lane Johnson going down anymore. And if he goes down again, yes, then the offensive line will probably be somewhat close to what it was last year, and it will be a disaster again. But you'll have a more mobile quarterback at least. But still, the contingency of this offensive line being good is if Lane Johnson's on the field for at least 16 games at least.
Is he that much better than like if Lane did go down and we move Malata over there and let Dillard start on the left?
To be honest with you, my personal preference is to be keep Malata left tackle and put Driscoll at right tackle. But the drop off from Lane Johnson to Driscoll or to Malata at right tackle is still significant. He's the best right tackle in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's hard to mask that. And he keeps the offensive line upright. I swear, there's a stat out there where I think they've only lost a handful amount of games when Lane Johnson starts at right tackle.
The games when they have right side together.
Exactly. And when he's not out there, that's when this offense falls apart. So this whole entire success of this offensive line rides on the health of Lane Johnson this season. So hopefully he can stay up healthy.
And I know we touched on Sweat on the what is he on the right side of that D line?
Yes.
What about the rest of that D line? How's that looking? How's everybody looking?
It's looking. I mean, it's interesting because Kerrigan, they're using as like the Swift Army knife. He'll line up over the center. He'll line up a defensive end. He's going to do everything this year. And Jonathan Gannon did say, I know we started off with Sweat. He did say he views Derek Barnett as a starter. So it's not all said and done for Derek Barnett. We'll see. Maybe a change of scheme will benefit him too. Let's not rest on him yet. But Milton Williams is lined up a defensive end. I mean, they've given 3-4 looks. They give him 4-3 looks. It's going to be a complete hybrid type defense. It's just getting all these players in place to adjust to that, because that's going to be a huge different swing. They've always done the same thing day in and day out for the last 4 seasons straight. Now they're going to be doing different alignments, given what it's going to be a matchup. I mean, it's a matchup dependent league. So I love that they're doing this, that they're going to whoever, depending on who they play, that's how they'll attack them. But it's going to be a lot different, and it's going to be hard for these guys to catch up. Luckily, Fletcher Cox and Milton Williams and guys like that have already been in multiple schemes, and Javon Hargrave too as well. He's been in nose tackle in Pittsburgh. He's going to do a lot of that in Philadelphia as well again. So at least a lot of these guys are accustomed to that. And Brandon Graham, can't forget Brandon Graham. Yeah, so I mean, at least they have a guy. And Kerrigan's comes from, he's a 3-4 stand-up rusher as well. He can put his hand in the dirt if he needs to. So at least they have a lot of pieces in place that can fit this transition they're going to have. But it's still going to be an adjustment period. It's going to be. I don't want to put playoff expectations on this team, because they're still going to have to adjust to this new coaching staff, to this new scheme. But they're going to be a lot better than what people think, at least.
Oh yeah, man! I have them going. I got big plans for my Birds.
They can go. I mean, they can compete for a wild card, for sure, and they can compete for this division, obviously, given how poor it is. But they're going to be better than last year. That's all. And as long as they're better than last year, and they keep trending in the right way, that's good, because that means Jalen Hurts is your guy and Nick Sirianni is your guy, and you can take these potentially 3 first-round picks and build your team with that.
Yeah, I have the Birds going 12-5.
Oh, sheesh.
That I think they can do it. With, like you were saying, like the way we're going to be able to be multiple in our schemes on both sides of the balls. That's really going to catch teams off guard. They're not going to be able to look at tape from last year and really do anything against us this year. And then also when like Belichick was winning all those Super Bowls too back in the day, he was very multiple in his defensive schemes and his offensive schemes. And I think that's kind of the approach Nick and JG are taking.
It seems like that's the approach that they're taking, which is huge. That's huge. I mean, that's going to be big for the Eagles. That's exactly what the Eagles need. Absolutely.
And what do you think about the upcoming practices with the Jets and the Patriots?
I mean, the Jets, it makes sense. Obviously, they've always done open practices with Jets, it feels like. But obviously, the connection with Joe Douglas. It's good to see, the Eagles like Zach Wilson. I'm not going to lie to you. I know for a fact that they like Zach Wilson. I think if Zach Wilson was attainable, he may have made them think twice about sticking with Jalen Hurts. I don't think it would have changed anything. I still think it would have stuck with Jalen Hurts, but they like Zach Wilson. So it's good to see Jalen Hurts versus Zach Wilson up close for the Eagles to see if they made the right decision. I believe at the end of the day they will be proven right that they did the right decision. I think Jalen Hurts is going to be the guy for this team. But so the Joe Douglas connection makes sense. I mean, these open practices just makes you more prepared to, you know, instead of going against your own guys, you get to go against a team that doesn't know it. Like you just said, they don't know what's coming against you. They don't know what they don't know what the Eagles offense is going to look like. They don't know what their defense will look like. It's never going to be the same as it was previous seasons before. So it's going to be good to catch these teams off guard.
Yeah, and then Nick to pick the brain of Belichick for a little bit there. You know what I'm saying? I know they don't give away too much during those practices, but I'm pretty sure they've been doing a lot of talking. How we get a chance to go look at some more players. What would you? I was thinking like even like how we'd be looking at maybe like the Harry or Gilmore, since they're talking about those two guys from the Patriots.
Oh, you're talking about Stephon Gilmore and trading him?
Yeah.
I don't know if the Patriots are going to do that, though. It seems like they're going to keep him. I think the Patriots think they can compete for a playoff spot with Cam this year. And then if not, then they'll, tear it down and put Mac Jones in, and then he's going to be expendable. I don't think they're going to give Stephon Gilmore the extension he wants. I don't know if they're going to trade him this season, though. With this offseason, I could see that possibly happening, and maybe the Eagles will be interested because, everybody goes, Darius Slay is old. The Eagles need to go younger at corner, and they'll probably say the same about Stephon Gilmore. But after seeing what Jonathan Gannon just did to Xavier Rhodes' career, rejuvenating it, it doesn't matter what the age of the corner is. They'll stick with veteran guys if they feel like they can get the most out of them. And it doesn't mean that's going to be the end for Slay in Philadelphia. Maybe they do rework his deal. But if they do that, I feel like they'll go after a corner in the draft. But for N'Keal Harry, the Eagles were interested in, and I know this has been reported by Jeff Mosher, but the Eagles were interested in Josh Doxson. And that's like a similar receiver how N'Keal Harry is. So I wouldn't be surprised if they actually keep tabs on him to keep an eye on him because, maybe Travis Fulgham isn't the guy that maybe they aren't completely sold on him. Maybe they aren't sold on Gio Whiteside. That means they're going to have to get the big body receiver to match Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith. And N'Keal Harry could be that. I just don't think he's that good, to be honest with you. I think I'd rather build on what Travis Fulgham's potential is and see what Nick Sirianni can build out of that, given what he's done with his track record with receivers. Because I really think there is something there with Travis Fulgham. I think he can be your guide to Jalen Reagor and Devontae Smith.
Nice. Yeah, man. Like you said, if Harry was good enough, then yeah, that'd be nice to see 3 first-round pick receivers back there together.
Oh, absolutely.
Ball. But I don't know. I haven't watched enough of Harry to know. I've seen him a little bit last year, but I don't know if I blame more of him or do I blame more of Cam? Because Cam had a pretty rough year last year.
I blame the system. The system's not wide receiver friendly. There's a reason why New England only does well with receivers that are already established in their careers. It's a hard system to pick up, and I don't think N'Keal Harry is capable of picking it up. But that might mean that he's not capable of picking up many NFL systems. I don't know. He'd be a risk. You have to give up something low for him.
You think so? It'd be a lot, even though he hasn't had the stats so far.
I would. You have to give up some. I mean, the Patriots have even given him Nelson Aguilar 2016 treatment where they put him on the bench and listed him as inactive when he's in a healthy scratch. I mean, he needs a lot of work. He needs a lot of work, and I think it's a risk for a team acquiring him.
Okay. Now, give me some more players you see out there, some more young bucks. How about Marlon? How Marlon looking out there?
He's definitely going to be the run stuff for this team. Bo Allen played such a pivotal role for the Eagles in years past, especially on that Super Bowl run, and they've missed that since he's left. They haven't had that run stuffing, death piece to put out there on the defensive line. Marlon's going to be that guy for them. 100%. So they've missed that so much since Bo Allen. They haven't been able to replace that. They've finally done that with Marlon. He's going to be that guy for that team. Another young guy I can look at. Tyree Jackson. Why not Tyree Jackson? The tight end, the quarterback converting to tight end with the Philadelphia Eagles. He's looking good.
Yeah.
He's looking real good. He trucked the heck out of Davion Taylor.
Nice.
Yeah, I think there's a role for him. I really think if he's not on the roster, hopefully he can make the practice squad. But I mean, this is a guy that you want to develop at tight end 3. If Hakeem Butler and all these guys can keep making the roster at tight end 3, this guy certainly can.
What about Jack Stahl?
He's going to be battling Richard Rodgers for a role. He's primarily your blocking tight end, and that's what Richard Rodgers does for this team. I don't think he's going to make the team over Richard Rodgers, though. I think Richard Rodgers is going to continue to make the team.
Mhm.
But again, practice squad candidate, because that is, again, Richard Rodgers is a band-aid.
Right.
Eventually they're going to have to rip that off and stop bringing him back year after year.
Right.
So that's a guy maybe next year Jack Stoll makes it, because right now I would say Richard Rodgers is probably favored.
Okay. Okay. What about Jacoby Stevens?
Uh, you know, a lot of intrigue with Jacoby Stevens, because he flashes that potential hybrid that this defense is looking for in a linebacker type safety. Uh,
Hmm.
where he fits so far, though, is the Kayvon Wallace role, and I don't think he can outplay Kayvon Wallace for that role. I think he's going to be backing him up in that specific role this year. I think it's going to make the team, though, because I think, again, you're going to need guys who can contribute on special teams and do so well. And I think Jacoby Stevens will be that guy, because he has so much heart in this game. So
Hmm.
I do think he's going to be probably like, I don't know what position the Eagles are going to really officially list him as, if either it's going to be linebacker or safety, but uh, perhaps linebacker. But I think he has a good chance of making this team, though. But again, he's going to be playing that Kayvon Wallace role, and I don't think he can outplay Kayvon for it.
I wonder where's he lining up more so far in practice. Is he going back more towards the safety,
He's more so linebacker.
linebacker?
He'll drop back as linebacker to make it look as a safety, but he's more so lining up as linebacker.
Okay. Candy says, I know it's early, but no pass. But who's flashing out there?
I have to say it again. Devontae Smith is everything he's advertised. He's going to be this wide receiver one for this team that they've been yearning for years and years and years. Forget about the Justin Jefferson mistake. They got their guy. They got the guy. He's going to be the alpha of this team. It's crazy. He's only been with the Eagles for, a couple months now. And these guys already looked at him as the alpha receiver. They already look at him as the guy. And he's going to be everything he's advertised. He is the next, I don't think it's crazy to say he's the next Marvin Harrison. I think he really can be that guy.
Right? Hey, he's a Heisman Trophy winner.
I know. It's unheard of. It's unheard of. But I really do think he's going to be that guy for this team.
You see the separation in practice already.
Oh, absolutely. You see the separate. I mean, I know he's had a drop already, but I mean, again, you're getting multiple balls on your way. Like it's going to happen. But the most impressive thing with him so far is his route running. It's completely separates from the rest on this team.
Nice. So give me some more of those receivers in there. Like we gave us a breakdown on what for running backs. Now, what receivers are you saying locked to make the team?
I know it's going to upset some people, but I'm just going to give my 6 receivers I think make the team right away.
Okay.
Devontae Smith, Jalen Reagor, Travis Fulgham, Greg Ward, Quez Watkins, and Michael Walker. And now people are going to think that's weird. Like, where's John Hightower in this? Where's Jessica Whiteside? None of these guys bring special teams ability to this team. Mm-hmm. They need a returner. Michael Walker can return. And they brought Michael Walker in for a reason. This is, again, another hand-picked player that this new staff brought in. Oh, I'm sorry. My girlfriend's home. I'm going to close this door real quick. Give me 1 second.
No worries. What's up to the big 9 in the chat? Thank you guys for being here. Please hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed already.
Yeah, you're going to hear them barking for a little bit, but at least I masked the sound a little bit. But Michael Walker is a great returner. He's been a great returner at Boston College. I think he's going to get an opportunity to make this team based off of that, because John Hightower can't do that. Jessica Whiteside can't do that. You don't want to see Greg Ward back there again, but he should be your wide receiver 4 on this team because of be the security blanket for Jalen Hurts. He has such great chemistry with him. And you saw last year with Carson Wentz, John Hightower was out there more. When they made the switch to Jalen Hurts, Quez Watkins took all of John Hightower's playing time. Mm-hmm. That's because Quez Watkins fits Jalen Hurts more. There's more of a chemistry built there. I think he's going to push him off this team. And again, they're going to keep 6 receivers, not 7. So that's my 6 making the team.
Now, Walker, he's a rookie, right?
Yeah, he's technically a second year player because he was with Jacksonville last year. Yeah. But he's still fresh out of Boston College. Didn't get much play with Jacksonville at all. So I don't know what in terms of NFL they would count him as, but I guess I would just off the top of my head consider him a second-year player. But he came from Jacksonville last year.
Nice. And then have you seen Killins returning anything back there?
Yeah, I think you could pretty much call Adrian Killins a wide receiver now, not a running back.
Okay.
I think they're trying the full transition there, but again, huge project, speed guy for sure. He's definitely going to be in the conversation for returning. But I think for talent, Michael Walker is way more talented as a returner, and I think that's going to show in the preseason. They're going to force their hand at least. But I think even if it's not Michael Walker, they're going to find a guy on the waiver wire, and I think it's more likely that it's a wide receiver than it's a corner to be a future returner for this team because they're going to emphasize on that. Michael Clay is going to be a lot different than David Phipp, and they know that they don't have the guys outside of Jalen Reagor and Michael Walker to be solid returners for this team. And I think they're going to value that when the preseason cuts come around and they're going to add a returner, whether it's I think it's going to be a wide receiver, whether it's Michael Walker or not.
Have they put Smith back there at all?
Had they put who?
Devontae Smith.
They have had to put Devontae Smith back there to return punts, but I just, knowing the volume that of targets he's going to have this year, knowing that he's going to have to be the guy at wide receiver, they can't risk injury with him. I think it's more likely we see Jalen Reagor back there than we see Smith.
Nice, yeah. Reagor, man. Yeah, I hope he gets that his stuff.
Yeah, I think, to go off of Candy's comment here, there's going to be, we talk about the improvement of Nick Sirianni over Doug Peterson in terms of, being a technician. We talk about improvement from all the new coaching staff and all the new things going into it. Not enough is talked about Michael Clay. He was a part of the Chip Kelly coaching staff. He did learn under Dave Phipp, but since he's gone on to be a successful special teams coach, he's done very well with the San Francisco 49ers. I think he's going to be a breath of fresh air for this team. And I think he's going to bring more emphasis to the special teams. Because again, I know they lost Rudy Ford, but they went out there and they got Andrew Adams to be the special team safety, to be the special teams ace. And he's coming from the Super Bowl champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers in doing so. So they valued special teams this offseason. They brought in a lot of good special teams guys. I'm excited to see how much improved that unit is, especially in the return department.
Nice. On both sides, yeah.
Yes.
Man, that's some good stuff there. We ran through the whole team right there, buddy. So give me more coaches, coaches that you've watched and you've seen, besides Nick. Everybody know Nick's high energy out there. Give me some more coaching.
I'll leave you off with one thing here about the players. Okay. Don't sleep on Nick Mullins beating out Joe Flacco for quarterback 2.
I said that.
Nick Mullins, yeah, and I've said that multiple times too, but Nick Mullins looks a lot better than Joe Flacco. And I mean, it's day 2, so it's still early, but so far going into it, Joe Flacco looks Nick Mullins looks a lot better than Joe Flacco, and it's noticeable. So I don't know if it's, I know they've given Joe Flacco $3.5 million guaranteed, but they're also paying Carson Wentz not to play for them this year. So I don't think that's all said and done that Joe Flacco is going to be quarterback 2 for this team. Don't sleep on Nick Mullins.
Mullins.
But Denard Wilson, the DB coach,
before you go, the guy. How did you like Nick Mullins with the Niners last year? Like, give me your.
He's the perfect game manager type quarterback if your starting quarterback goes down. If your offense is good enough to perform well with a game managing type quarterback, Nick Mullins is your guy. He's good enough to be. He's better than Joe Flacco at this point in his career. He's good enough to be your backup quarterback and to win games for you in a game managing type role, but he's not a starting caliber quarterback. He's the perfect quarterback too. And the Eagles love perfect quarterback too, right? I mean, we had Nick Foles.
Yeah, Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, baby.
Exactly.
Hopefully Hurts won't get hurt this year though.
I don't think so. I don't think so. He's built different.
Give me the best highlights you think you've seen so far from Hurts.
That 40-yard, it was about 40. I think it was 46-yard, pure air yards of a pass to Devontae Smith. For everybody out there that doubts Devontae Smith's arm strength, I immediately laughed when I saw that pass, when I thought about everybody doubting it. He has arm strength, ladies and gentlemen. Man, he has arm strength. It might not be as consistent, maybe as Carson Wentz's, but it's more accurate than Carson Wentz's. The ball went right into Devontae Smith's hands over Steven Nelson. It was beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, and what about the new guy we picked up, Obi?
Yeah, everybody wanted the Eagles to draft his brother out of Syracuse during the 2021 draft to play corner for this team, and he ended up being drafted to the Detroit Lions in the 3rd round. Obi was a 2nd-round pick for the Oakland Raiders. He failed miserably there. He went to New England. He's been the hybrid corner safety ever since. He's more of a depth guy, special teams type guy for them. But I'm interested to see what Jonathan Gannon does with this type of player. Again, they don't have good enough safety depth on this team. So to bring in this guy who he worked out for the Eagles back in May, so he obviously did enough to stick out to them for them to think we need to bring him back. But the depth of safety needs to be tested, And to bring this guy in to potentially, push for a roster spot, I think it's a good move.
Like, you think you'd be behind Harris? Who's been playing behind Harris?
Epps.
Epps. Ooh.
Epps. And, I for as much as fans don't give, fans aren't high on Marcus Epps, he's a decent player for given the fact that he's a bench player. He does well when he's on the field. He was really the third safety last year, and when he wasn't supposed to be. So and he's still very young. So the Eagles might have something in him, and Jonathan Gannon's going to give him every chance he possibly can. So I think, is going to make the team. I think it's going to be Anthony Harris, Kayvon Wallace, Rodney McLeod. We'll see if Rodney McLeod's ready for week 1. We're not quite sure yet. I think he will be, but we'll see. And then after that, it's a toss-up. Obi's going to be in the competition for that.
And Andrews, you said?
Andrews is definitely going to make the team, yeah, for sure. But he's going to be the special teams guy. I doubt he sees the field as safety.
Okay. What about our kicker? How Mr. Elliott looking back there?
I mean, so far so good. But again, this guy's a practice warrior. Practice warrior. So we'll see. The 30. I hopefully the 30-yard pluses aren't a problem anymore, because of it's still looking like the worst contract how he's giving out in a while, because Jake looked bad last year.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. What about that punter? Because we haven't been talking. No one's been talking about the punter. What's his name? Sepos?
Cypress, yeah. I think the Eagles may internally view him as an upgrade over Cameron Johnston.
Whoa.
Because they didn't bring in any competition for him. They're kind of handing him the job already. And it's funny. They preach competition, but they're looking like they're giving a lot of guys the jobs already, like Jalen Hurts, for example. They're already giving Cypress the job at punter with no competition at all. And I think that's because they view him as an upgrade over Cameron Johnston.
Nah, that's high praise right there.
Yep.
Man, that's real high praise. I'll say now you go ahead and go back to the coaches like we were going to go before I cut you off there.
Oh, yeah. Denard Wilson, the defensive backs coach. It's been completely animated. And I know I was a big fan of Mark Emanuel. I think he was given a raw deck. Only given one season in a really bad turmoil season with the Eagles. But Denard Wilson, again, is a former player. He knows where to put these guys in positions. He did a great job with the Jets last year with ton of unheralded players. I'm definitely liking Denard Wilson. I think he's been the most animated so far.
Nice. He's I think he said, what happens if Goddard bombs and Hurts kills?
I don't know if I'm still under the belief that Zach Ertz isn't on this team week 1. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still under that belief. So we'll see. I don't think that's likely though. This offense is really going to maximize his Dallas Goedert's skill set, because his skill set is familiar to that of Travis Kelce and George Kittle's. I think it's going to finally maximize that potential. But again, he failed the conditioning kit test. He hasn't proven always to stay healthy. Still up in the air with him. He has to prove himself because he needs that long-term deal.
Yes, he do. That's what I like about our team. There's a lot of pieces that have something to prove, whether it's contract, whether it's the media smashing on them all off season. I think that's the fire that's been lit under our team. That's definitely going to squeak out a couple more wins than everybody expects us to. What is your win prediction?
I really think they're going to go. I'm still a little iffy on this team. It's so many unknowns. And again, these are our first year play callers, and Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon. It's still going to be there's going to be growing pains. So again, if they win this amount of games, I don't want people to think it's a bad thing. I don't want people to think, it's an improvement. It means they're going in the right direction. Now they just have to build around Jalen Hurts because he proved he could be the guy. I think they go 8-9. And I think it's still good enough to compete in this division.
No way.
But I mean, we'll see, man. Look, I'll just say they look better than I expected. They do look better than I expected.
A lot of people basing it off of last year's 4-game winning. And what did we do the year before last year? We were 8 wins, 7 wins?
9-7. 9-6-1. Sorry, 9-6-1.
Yeah, I think we need to be thinking about picking up towards that level again, because we still got the offense. We got the key positions, key veterans at the key position. That's the offensive defensive line, and I think we even upgraded on both sides, and having that, the skill position players, I think the quarterback's upgraded in certain areas. We have a different dual threat in Jalen Hurts than we did in Carson. And I think the receivers definitely got better since then. So I don't see us going lower than the year before last. I think last year was an anomaly. No one really expected us to only win 4 games. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't know. That's why I got us going 12-5. Is because I think that we're gonna pick up from the year before last. I kind of just erased last year completely as a whole.
It all depends on Jalen Hurts, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
It's all on Jalen Hurts' shoulder. If he can be the guy for this team, that he'll take him as far. They'll go as far as Jalen Hurts will take him.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, what I like to do is also have you pick your all-time Eagles team.
My all-time Eagles team.
And then,
So
so we start out with the quarterback. Who's your starter and your backup? Give me two.
my starter's McNabb for
Mm-hmm.
sure. It's gotta be McNabb. My backup's Randall Cunningham.
Nice. Give me four receivers.
T.O.
Mm-hmm.
Deshaun,
Mm-hmm.
Harold Carmichael, and Mike Wick.
Nice. Two tight ends.
I really think Dallas Goedert's gonna be really good for this team. I really do. I think Zach Ertz is the best tight end in franchise history. I know everybody loves Brent Selleck, but I honestly would go with the current tight ends on this team. Dallas Goedert's gonna be really good. You'll see this season. We're gonna see the real product of Dallas Goedert this year.
Oh yeah, that's why my record's so high. Cause I have high faith in all of our players, baby. Let's go with the offensive line.
At left tackle, I would go Jason Peters, but it's close because Trey Thomas was an elite player as well. But I would go Jason Peters.
Mm-hmm.
At left guard, I go Evan Mathis.
Nice.
I loved Evan Mathis. At center, I would go Jason Kelsey easily.
Mm-hmm.
At right guard, this is tough, but Brandon Brooks was a better overall player than Todd Herman's was, which is tough to say because Todd Herman's can play so many positions.
Right.
But I would I would go Brandon Brooks.
Okay.
And then at right tackle, I love Lynn Johnson, but John Runyon would always be out there.
Yeah.
You could always depend on John Runyon to play. So I'm going to go John Runyon.
All right. Let's jump over to the defensive line. Who's starting for you?
Reggie White, Jerome Brown, Fletcher Cox, and Trent Cole.
Woo! I like that one. Linebackers.
Oh, all right. Seth Joyner, Jeremiah Trotter, and this is gonna be a funny answer to people. They're gonna, I'll do Chuck Derrick. It's gotta be Chuck because I was gonna say Carlos Emmons. I loved Carlos Emmons when he was with the Eagles. Emmons was a beast. I mean, people compared Nigel Bradham to Carlos Emmons, and I understood why, but Carlos Emmons was a lot better than Nigel Bradham was.
Oh yeah, man. Like I said, I mean, this is your list. Like we had Bobby Taylor, he had Indy Kalu on that list, and I was like, whoa, I didn't even remember.
Ooh, that's a little interesting there. That's an interesting pick for sure. All right,
and give me go ahead and give me your cornerbacks. Give me three cornerbacks.
All right, Eric Allen, Asante Samuel, and Troy Vincent.
Nice. And then
I love Bobby Taylor though. That was hard, but I do love Bobby Taylor. I did notice you had him on your show. That's freaking awesome, man.
Yeah, he was great. And what about the safeties?
Brian Dawkins.
Everybody always used Dawkins. Give me three of them.
All right, so Brian Dawkins, obviously, but Quentin Michael. I think Quentin Michael was great for this team. I think he was very underrated, and he had 100 tackles in a couple of seasons as a starter for this team, and undrafted free agent that this team developed as well.
Mm-hmm.
Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, come on, Malcolm Jenkins. Malcolm Jenkins was
Iron Man.
Not the second coming of Dawkins, but damn close.
Mm-hmm.
So those are my three safeties for sure. And then kickers, David Akers for sure.
Akers.
Easily. Punter? Oh, man. Sav Rocca could really punt that thing far, though, man. But Sean Landetta was year in and year out the punter of this team. I know he played with multiple teams, but I always think of Sean Landetta as an Eagle. So I'll go Sean Landetta.
All right. Who's returning them kicks?
Deshaun. I would say Sproles, but Deshaun was just so much faster. So here's the question to ponder. Did the Eagles win the Brandon Graham versus Earl Hunt? Oh, absolutely. They won the Brandon Graham versus Earl Thomas. I don't know. I mean, Earl Thomas was an all-pro player, and so is Jefferson to start his career off.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. Mm-hmm. I just wrote an article today comparing Josh Sweat to Brandon Graham, though. They're following the same career trajectory. I think Josh Sweat's going to be the future Brandon Graham of this team.
Yeah. Man, I have really big hopes on Josh Sweat. That guy's a beast.
He's everything.
He needed
everything
to get healthy. He needed to get that knee 100% first. And I think his first couple of years he was just getting it healthy, and then after the years went by, he's just.
And that was Brandon Graham, my friend.
Yeah.
Brandon Graham did the same thing. It was a worse ACL injury than it was reported. It was bad. He tore his whole entire knee up. There was questions if he could also play again,
mm-hmm.
and he took that year off. The 2011 season, took the 2011 season off. Then he returned behind Jason Babin and Trent Cole.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make any strides. Then in 2014, he finally showed some strides to the point where they let go of Trent Cole and they rocked out Brendan Graham. And I think that might be the same with Josh Sweat. No, I know I love Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell was a great returner, though. He really was.
What about some Hugh Douglas? You remember Hugh?
Oh, I love Hugh. I love Hugh, man. It's crazy that he does so much Atlanta radio work. He killed in Philadelphia. I would love to have him on the radio.
A radio station, man. What a hater.
Yeah, he's in Atlanta. I can't believe he's in Atlanta doing all this. He would kill it in Philadelphia.
Right? He'd get mad love. I want to get Hugh on the show. That'd be awesome, man. That'd be way awesome.
Definitely gotta try.
Well, hey, man, thanks for joining me today, man. It's always a pleasure. You guys go subscribe to Eagles Unfiltered, right?
Yeah, Eagles Unfiltered. Yep, wherever you get podcasts.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and give me a breakdown everywhere they can find you.
All right, so you can just follow me at Conor Myles SI on Twitter, CONOR MYLES SI, and then you can find us at Eagles Unfiltered wherever you get podcasts. We're on YouTube, Twitch, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find us. Just search Eagles Unfiltered.
All right. Well, thank you guys for being in the chat today. As always, fly, Eagles, fly. Drop a like on the way out the door. Until next time on Bird Gang Nation Sports Talk. Bird Gang Nation, we out.